First and foremost, let's quickly have a look at whatever happened for the day. So can I have a volunteer coming forward? Can we just have a volunteer coming forward? Anyone? Just unmute yourself. Just feel free to unmute yourself. So who could just come forward? Just unmute yourself, guys. So almost whatever we have learned, we have got a chance to see it real time. Just unmute yourself, anyone. So why is not anyone unmuting? Anyone? So usually Sneha is the first person. I think Sneha itself will.
There's disturbance around me.
Okay, cool. So Sneha, like, okay, fine. So over here, today morning, what we were kind of realizing for ourselves is this particular strike 36,500 call option was the one having the highest open interest, right?
Okay. Yeah.
First and foremost, let's have a look at the 36,500 call option. So what was happening to the 36,500 call option premium? So what happened to the premium? So it almost expired worthless, 7.35. Yeah. This became in the money. Okay, so it is 36,540. This became in the money. But 36,500 call option expires at just 7 rupees. Now, some of you would be asking, why is it not 40 rupee and 7 rupee? Why is nobody asking that question? So
I had this doubt, sir.
Yeah. So the so your question is that why isn't the price not 40 rupee and why is it just 7 rupee? Can you tell?
7 rupees.
Yeah. Anyone else who has the answer for this question? Anyone?
Is it because the extensive value got 0?
Extensive value, yeah, anyways, it got 0. So right now, whatever is there is intrinsic value only. But this particular intrinsic value, we should be actually expecting it to be 36,540, right? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Then why do we actually still have this as, what do you call it? Just 8 rupees. Can anyone give me the answer to this question? IV, nothing to do with IV, my friend. Anyone, any single person who could answer? Okay, so guys, like, let me just make it simple. So do you know how the closing price of a particular stock is calculated? How the closing price is calculated? See, the closing price of any particular stock or index exactly is the average. Okay, it's not the last traded price. So what you're seeing over here of Bank Nifty 36,540 is the last traded price or the price at which Bank Nifty has been traded the last. Okay, the last trade or last transaction has actually happened more or less over there. However, the closing price of Bank Nifty is nothing else but 36,508. The closing price of Bank Nifty is 36,508. So Sneha, so 36,508 is the closing price.
Yes.
So what should be the intrinsic value of 36,500 call option then? Just 8 rupee, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and we see that it is 7 rupees over here, more or less 8 itself. So this extra, why this is trading at a discount of around half 50 paise, is considering the fact you will have somebody who want to take this contract, he'll have to pay some charges, right? So people are too lazy to pay for the charges and stuff to exercise this contract, or see, exercising doesn't happen for India, but they had to pay for some charges. So in order to compensate for that, that is why it's trading slightly lower than it. It's trading at 7.35. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what about the rest? So any queries on what we have discussed till now? Anyone? Any single question? It's simple, right? See, last traded price of Bank Nifty is this much. However, the average price is not that much. Okay, so that is why. So closing is actually calculated based on the average price. Okay, of the last 30 minutes. So that is why this intrinsic value is only 7.35. I'll just quickly show you something. Let me just show you the option chain once again. Okay. And we'll just recollect what all are the aspects that we were thinking today morning. So first and foremost, as far as bank, once again, so Nifty, like we were seeing from last Sunday onwards, that 17,500 strike has a very huge OI. So did Nifty actually settle below 17,500 this week? Yes or no? So did the option sellers protect the 17,500 strike? The answer is yes. Now let's go back to Bank Nifty and let's see for ourselves what was happening with Bank Nifty. Today, we were actually mentioning out for ourselves that 37,000 has a good OI, 36,500. So I told you that there could be two barriers for Bank Nifty for that day. So first barrier would be 36,500 and the second barrier would be 37,000. Well, let's have a look at the chart of Bank Nifty and see for ourselves how many times this barrier 36,500 has been tested. So from the beginning of the day, morning itself, the price actually tried to touch this barrier. It didn't break. 36,500 is over here, came down. Then finally, towards the end, barrier 1 almost gets broken. 36,500. Price almost touches the 36,500 marks. To be pretty frank, 36,500 barrier didn't breaking of this particular barrier, or I can't say the barrier actually got broken. It really would not have actually even affected people who saw 36,500. Why? Because they would have sold 36,500 earlier at a higher value, more than 100, maybe 150 something, and it settles at 7. You sell at 100, you buy at 7, you still make a profit of 93, right? Great. So what were we doing? So on the other hand side, what are the things that we personally done for the day? So let's start off with the bear call spread we did. Okay, one by one. So my God. Okay, so let's start off with the bear call spread itself. Just hold on. I'll just take and show you. So we personally sold the 37,000. So we were supposed to sell the 37,100. So I personally did that. But then by the time we were speaking, price already like some sort of little bit decay and price came down a bit, and 37,000 we were to sell for 14 rupees. Okay. So let's have a look at the 37,000 call option. 37,000 call option. So you sold it for 15 rupees. So how many instances where the price actually picked up beyond the price you sold it? So when Bank Nifty was kind of actually rising, it picked up a bit, but then more or less after that, it was a continuous decay, right? So even towards the end, you see. Sneha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So Sneha, just have a look over here. So towards the end, so after 2 o'clock, what was actually happening with Bank Nifty?
Yes.
Bank Nifty was increasing. Bank Nifty was actually bullish. Okay, it dropped the day's high also. But what was happening to the premium of our 37,000?
It was coming down.
Why? Why is it making the premium come down? 37,000 call option.
Again, it's because of the average.
Nothing to do with the average.
No.
So see, this is an out of the money call option.
Okay.
And today is an expiry date. That's the easiest clue I can give you. So Bank Nifty is picking up, but then the options premium is keeping on decreasing. What is the reason? Anyone else? Sneha, you have the answer. Just think about it.
Extrinsic value.
Extrinsic value is just depleting like crazy. Or theta decay, I would say. Extrinsic value is going to become 0 at the time of expiry. And this particular 37,000 call option, even when Bank Nifty is picking up from 36,250. See, Bank Nifty is picking up from 36,250. How far is 37,000? It is still 750.0. It is very out of the money, very much out of the money. So theta decay is continuously happening, and from 2 o'clock onward, just one and a half hours left for expiry. Okay. So even though price is picking up, premium is keeping on decreasing, and ultimately it becomes 0. So we sold this, and that becomes 0. Now, what about the hedge that we did? The 37,000, we actually bought the 37,500, right? So 37,500 call option was the thing that we kind of actually kept as a hedge for margin benefit. So here also 37,500 also you see there was not even a single instance where the premium is rising. continuous downside. You see that? So there was kind of actually not even a single instance where the 37,500 strikes premium is increasing. It was like a straight fall. So this is also because of the fact this is an OTM option. So OTM options, FAR OTM options, even if the price is to pick up against your direction, if it is like just 1 hour or something left for expiry, nothing is going to happen. Okay.
Got it, sir. Yeah.
Now, so that is the concept of theta decay. However, if it picks up extremely, then obviously this will spike. But then up like till a good point of time, nothing is going to happen. So that is the first thing that we learned, bear call spread, right? That is what we learned the last Sunday. And how much would you have collected by doing this? You realize that you would have actually had to keep aside around some 30K for doing one lot. Okay, so I'll just show you what happens with it. So if you are to kind of actually keep aside 30K and you'll end up collecting 363 minus 93. So how much is it effectively? So this is going to be like a how much? 270, right? So for charges, see, if you're trading in multiple lots, charges really doesn't become much of a big concern. So let's say that you're kind of actually collecting like even 250 rupee after all charges and stuff. So 250 divided by, okay. Okay. So 250 divided by 30K. So how much would be the return on the capital that you're deploying? So what would be the return on the capital that you're deploying? Just feel free to answer. As far as the capital that you're deploying, how much is the ROI? Return okay. ROCE we call it, return on capital employed. It's like a 0.83%. So what all did you have to do this? What all did you have to do to make this 0.83%? What work did you have to do? Nothing. All right. So people who kind of actually ask me like, what are the management you had to do? So that's what I said. Today at the beginning of the day itself, I told you, if Bank Nifty is to go bullish, it would actually break the 36,500 marks. If Bank Nifty is breaking above the 36,500 marks, we can look out for directional trades on the upside. But as long as the first barrier is not being taken out, that is, as long as Bank Nifty is not going extremely bullish and it is not capable of breaking out the 36,500 marks, do you need to fight the markets? Do you actually need to do that? What do you feel? The answer is no. Just stay relaxed. So 36,500 we have already seen. This is a good barrier as far as the open interest is concerned. Okay. So 36,500 is actually a very good barrier as far as the open interest is concerned. So only if this 36,500 marks were to actually get broken, in between we would have to create some long side positions. Else it is like nothing to do. Okay. That is one thing. And one more thing I just wanted to tell you. If this 36,500 levels were broken, maybe like at 11 o'clock or maybe at 12 o'clock, or let's say even at 12:31, there would have been a good short covering coming. So short covering meaning there is this phenomenon called short covering, where people who have actually kind of aggressively sold the call options, that is people who would have actually kind of aggressively sold out the call options out here, they would cover their positions, meaning people who sell it, they would actually buy it back. Okay. So if all the people who have initially aggressively sold the call options, if they are aggressively keeping on buying back, then what is going to happen is the call options premium will spike up pretty drastically. That is what we refer to as short covering. So once again, short covering is a phenomenon where a particular strike where large number of call writers were there, if they feel, okay, market is going bullish, they will start to cover or they'll start to square off their positions. Everybody who sold it, they'll buy it back. So when they start buying back, market will rise like crazy. That is what we call a short coverage. So that is why I specifically said Only if this barrier is to get broken, we need to check out for long side positions. But that barrier is getting like more or less getting broken at the end. Nothing to do. So that is the bear call spread part. Now let's get into the other thing that we did. Okay. So is this part clear for everyone? Is this concept clear for everyone? All of you are following, right? What about others? Come on, guys. Like only very less of you respond. Most of you don't even respond. Just feel free to say if you're not following or not. If you don't follow,
Little confused, sir.
yeah. So what is the confusion you have? So which part?
With the price falling down.
Okay.
I mean, I understand that, because it 37,000 call option price fell down because it is far off the money option.
For OTM, yeah. See, 37,000 call option. It has only extrinsic value.
Yes.
Keep it simple. Let's call it as time value. Okay. So at the time of expiry, what will happen to the premium of all the out of the money options? So what will naturally happen to all the out of the money options?
Comes down to zero.
Yeah, it will come down to zero. Exactly. So all the out of the money options will ultimately at the end of the day come down to zero.
Zero. Yes.
This 36,000 call option, 37,000 call option as expiry is approaching. So the premium will keep on coming down. No, so time value will keep decreasing. So have you seen this? That timing thing. I forgot the name. The time sand something.
Yes, sir.
That you turn it down. So slowly, like soil grains will be falling. Now towards it, you will feel that it is falling at a faster rate. So same way, this theta decay or time value will keep decreasing like that. Towards the end, it will finish off very fast. Understand? So towards the end, the rate at which theta decay is going to happen is going to be pretty fast. You'd see that the premium is like vanishing away somewhere. So that was what was happening for the day. Okay.
Okay.
So we kind of actually selected, yeah, I'll send both the recordings, don't worry. So we kind of actually selected a strike in such a manner that it would be pretty far away and we'll get the advantage of theta decay. So that's the first thing that we did. So if the market is to say sideways or the market is picking up gradually, theta decay will always happen. So that is the friend of an option seller, theta decay. Okay. So is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
So whatsoever we have discussed, great. So now the next part that we are kind of actually just going to see is the second thing that we did. So where we solved a call option and a put option, both has a premium of 40 rupee. And then we kept a stop loss of 70 rupees. Let's see that. So call option, we solved the 36,700 call option. 36,700 call option we solved. And the put option that we solved was 35,800. So I'll just mark it out over here for your better understanding. See, we solved it for the call option that we kind of actually solved at around, what do you call it? At around 10.5 something. We solved it somewhere over here, some 45 something. Okay, over here we solved it. Where did we keep our stop loss? We kept our stop loss at 70. Mark it out over here. We solved it somewhere over here, some 45 something. 45, 44, let's take it to be 40, 48 something. Okay. So you sell it over here. You keep your stop loss at 70. So where is 70? So 70 is somewhere over here. Okay. So this is the first thing that you kind of actually do. And on the put option side, what are you doing? So once again, the put option. Same way you're selling it somewhere at 40. You're keeping your stop loss at 70. Okay. So friends, just let me know which side the stop loss is getting. Is the call option side or the put option side? Where are we hitting the stop loss? So we have our stop loss being hit on the call option side. Okay. So I was actually pretty much surprised to have my call option stop loss getting hit over here. So on the chart, it will show you like 60, 69 something, but actually 70 rupees stop loss was getting hit. So in fact, I personally had kept my trigger in Motilal at some 71, but still it got triggered over here itself. Then after that, again, some sort of a bullish side move took place. So again, after that, some sort of a bullish side. Oh my God, just a second, guys. Yeah. So again, after that, what sort of actually happens is again, another bullish side move is actually taking place. So over here also, this time the premium actually would have spiked up till like 75. So here also the stop loss would have been hit. Now may I ask you this quick question? So what happens to the other strike that you sold? Okay, one strike, your stop loss is getting hit. Now what about the other strike?
The other one became worthless.
Yeah, so the other strike basically more or less becomes worthless. So one side, the strike is actually hitting the stop loss, but the other side, the premium is kind of actually becoming zero. So still at the end of the day, you kind of actually still have a, what do you call it? So still at the end of the day, you kind of end up having a 10 rupee. So over here, if you have to lose 30 rupee, and over here, you are kind of actually still making 40 rupee. So this would be like a minus 40, sorry, minus 30 plus an extra 40. Just a second, guys, just a second. So minus 30 plus 40, effectively, how much do you have? 10 points. Okay. But guys, like when this stop loss got hit, right? I personally was kind of actually pretty much surprised. ജയ്സ അതെ നമ്മൾ അനന്തുവിന് ഒരു 2000 റുപ്പീസ് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്യും. ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ശരി ശരി ഞാൻ ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്യാം. ഓക്കെ ശരി. Yeah. So what kind of actually happens out over here is markets were kind of not looking extremely bullish. Okay. And there were like some huge spikes in premium kind of taking place. So what I effectively did is I sold this 36,700 again. I'll show you what was done. So just like I did today, just like we mentioned today, Anandu transfer edo. Okay. So at first, like what we did is the bear call spread. So I'll just mark it in green, the bear call spread part. 37,000 sold, 37,500 bought. Effectively, you collect some 270 rupees something, which is like nothing like but a 0.8 percentage. Okay. So the next thing that was kind of actually done, we kind of actually sold a 35,800 put option at 36.3. Here the average sell rate was a bit low. You collect 905. But the 36,700 call option, right? You see it is still in profit after getting hit, after getting the stop loss. So what I just wanted to convey to you is, in this particular case, okay, what I did is, I'll just show you. Can I have a volunteer, please? Anyone, just unmute yourself. Someone apart from Sneha. It is always Sneha only. Somebody else. Just unmute yourself, come forward. This is like one interesting adjustment. It's just an interesting adjustment. Anyone just come forward. Come on, guys. Just be a little more active. Anyone just unmute yourself. It's not going to be a tough question or something. Just something pretty interesting. Yeah, hi, Sumit. Okay. So Sumit, like, let me just ask you this question. You know that you're losing 30 points out here, but you're making 40 points over here. So you make a 10 points. Will you be happy with that?
Yeah.
Fine, you can be happy. But then let me just give you a scenario where you feel, okay, again, the price is actually coming down to 40, where you sold. See, the premium came to 70. Okay. Then again, the price is actually coming down to 40. Now, if you have a bearish view, do you mind selling this 36,700 again?
I'll do it. I'll again sell it.
Yeah. There is kind of actually nothing much wrong in doing that. because on the expiry day, at least one of them will expire worthless. So from 75, if it dips down, so that was actually over here. So this kind of a dip is actually happening out over here, right?
Yes.
So there is nothing wrong in you to sell it at 40. But what I did is I didn't sell it at 40. So what I personally did is I waited for the premium to become something like a 50. Okay. So I waited for it to become something like a 15 rupee. Then what I did is I sold 2 lots. Okay. So whatever is the size that you're trading on a normal basis, you trade double the size. Now, some of you might ask me, don't this require more margin? The answer is yes. It would actually require it would kind of actually require more margin. Okay. So I sold it. I sold 2 lots. That is double the size of what was initially done. Okay. I'll just show you out over here. So just have a look over here. So if this was like, initially we sold 25. So the next time we kind of actually sold it, we kind of actually sold it for a price of, where is it? Yeah. So we sold it for around 15 rupee. Okay. So now what happens is you're selling twice the quantity. So 15 rupee into 2, you'll effectively collect 30 rupee. So what have you lost on the call side leg initially? You have lost 30 rupee. But you are doing something else to recollect back that 30 rupee. So this leg also you can actually make it or close it on a profitable note. Okay. So more or less doing this, how much, like if you ask me like how much was our net inflow, the net inflow that you would have actually had is 905 plus 82 plus 363. Okay, minus this 93. So which is going to be like how much? This is kind of, after charges, it is going to be around, you consider it to be like a 1,200. Okay, you consider it to be around a 1,200 or a 1.2K post all charges. Okay. Now, even if you're not making this 1.2K and even if you're making, let's say, just a 500 rupee. Okay, so 1.2K as far as the margin deployed, effective margin deployed concerned, would totally account to more or less like a 0.6, 0.7 percentage. Okay, so but that is actually a pretty decent ROI considering the effort that has been taken over here. Just think about the kind of effort you would have taken out over here. Did you do a lot of work? So were you kind of actually like spending 6 hours in front of the screen or 7 hours? Did you have to do that? The answer is no. As far as the kind of efforts that would have actually been involved out over here, the ROI is pretty decent, pretty great, I would say. So I'll just show you with respect to the margin used. So margin used is 3.32. But if you want to increase the ROI, then like corresponding to whatever you have actually sold. So we sold this in 2 lots, right? You could actually, you must have actually bought an OTM hedge. You would have still brought down the margin. So when you sold this 36,700 call, so at that point of time, 37,000 call was actually available for something like some 2 rupee, or you probably would have actually exited this also. So if you wanted to do that, if you buy some sort of a hedge, then this margin requirement from like 3.3 lakh, it could have actually been brought down to around 2.7 something. Okay, so in that particular case, your return on investment would have once again increased. But more or less, I would say you can effectively make like a 0.5, 0.6%. The kind of efforts involved over here is like pretty less, and that in fact is the attraction. Okay, so when you kind of actually compare with respect to the efforts that you take, that is kind of less. So any questions? So guys, like ROI calculation, that is a mistake. So if 3 lakh is the margin that is used, total margin that is used for any single both the setups together. So the initial setup, as I mentioned to you, your ROI is like 0.8%. No change on that. So just a second. So as far as the second setup, like if you individually consider, just hold on. So first thing for us to do, if it took us a 4, just hold on. Yeah. So first one, if it took us like a 30K, the ROI would be like 0.8%. That means the rest 3 lakh has been used for the second setup, where you only made 1K. Okay, so that is like 1 divided by 3. So in the second setup, the return you're getting is just 0.3%. Okay, so if you are kind of actually allocating equivalent capital for both, your ROI would be like a 0.55%. If you're keeping aside same capital for both. Okay, so I just did this over here in single lot to show you how much would be the exact margin. Now, once again, if there was a hedge kept over here, this point, the 3 lakh margin that was used for selling this call in a naked manner could definitely be brought down to maybe around 2.5 or something. And in that particular case, this 0.3% ROC would have effectively been like 0.5. So if you had allocated equivalent capital, that would make it like a 0.7%, which is pretty decent, considering the fact that you're really not taking much of an effort. Okay. So any questions you guys would like to have? Any questions you'd like to ask? Just feel free to ask.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when the stop loss got hit, like the 37,500, when that got 70, so at that point of time, we could have sold like a higher call, right? I mean, for example, something which had a price of 30.
Okay,
like
that's a pretty good question. So in fact, so that was actually a particular time. So let's have a look at the time when the price was actually hitting the stop loss, like at 11:30. Okay. To be pretty frank, at 11:30, like let's have a look how Bank Nifty was doing. Just have a look at this. So at 11:30, like Bank Nifty was like kind of actually just picking up all of a sudden, more or less looking like to give a breakout. So somebody who was actually just closing and okay, share screen. So somebody who would kind of actually be watching it out carefully. So we are actually looking out to create long side positions if Bank Nifty is capable of breaking out 36,500. So obviously just think for yourself, under such situations when you are also watching out for Bank Nifty to break out 36,500 levels, to initiate a long side position, would you have the courage to sell another call option? Just think.
No.
Answer is no. So that's the answer. Obviously, you won't do that. So that is like, so obviously, like after that, if Bank Nifty fell down, maybe you would have actually got the courage to sell the call. So,
right.
to be pretty frank, I probably would have done that. But in this particular case, I wasn't there in front of the screen. So when the premium kind of actually approached like a 15, I always double the size. That's what I did for myself. So I just wanted to show you this. That's why I did 2 dots over here. But if you want margin benefits, you can actually once again reduce the margin requirement by keeping always. Okay. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like at that point of time, since it was going to break a particular level, we wouldn't. I mean, yeah, it's correct that we wouldn't sell the call.
You won't have the courage because you're looking out for a posterior breakout also.
Right. So at that point, like we had only the put selling position which was open, right?
Yeah. True.
It was one-sided position.
And Shruti, one more thing is there. So if you had like this kind of a decisive power that okay, market will exactly fall down from there, then you would have removed the stop loss. You would not have actually let it hit in the first place.
Yes.
Understand? You would have actually just removed it because you feel okay, no, market will just come here, from there it will fall down. You won't even let the stop loss get hit. You remove it. Right.
Right, right.
So like theoretically speaking, after the market has closed, you'll get all these ideas. But at the time of market, we can't even be deviating from the system. Like system means strategy. Just stick with it. So this is what I said. Even if one side stop loss is going to hit, most probably the other side will still expire worthless. So then why do we need to do much of an effort? Anyway, we'll make 10%. So in this particular case, what would have actually happened is if we didn't actually lose this, right? Both things are expiring worthless. So there will be some weeks when both sides stop losses are not being triggered. That is, this side you will collect 40, this side also you will collect 40. That will make it a net 80 points.
80 points.
Got it.
Yeah.
So 80 points
Right.
on Bank Nifty, like if you kind of actually kind of consider keeping some, so that would kind of generate you like a 1% is pretty smooth.
Okay. Got it.
Understand? So these kind of systems, you can actually follow it without much of a second thought. Why? Because your returns are small, but then like more or less you can do it pretty consistently. So
Right.
yeah, so that's the beauty of these kind of non-directional setups. When you look at now, if you are having the time to spend a lot of time in front of the screen, you can play pretty aggressive. You can actually sell like nearby options and all, but then you'll have to keep on looking, you'll have to keep on managing. But these kind of things, once you do it, most probably if you don't look at it also, there is kind of more or less no difference going to take place in your results. It's going to be more or less the same. So that's the advantage. Okay, so any other questions, anyone? So Sudhi, is it clear? Okay. So yeah, so anyone else, any other queries? Rahul, hi.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, when you sold the 36,700 CE for 15 rupees, what was the stop loss?
Good question. In this particular case, the stop loss that was actually kept was once again the same 70. Okay. It was once again kept as the same 70, the stop loss. However, I kind of actually had a plan that now from here, okay. So something to be kept in point is, if at all the prices to kind of actually pick up from here and to pick up towards the 70 marks, Bank Nifty would have already broken the 36,500. And once again, I would actually be long on my futures. So I kept it at 70 just because of the fact I really didn't want the stop loss to be hit with some sudden moves taking place. I kept it pretty far away. However, if there was some sort of a good upside move to come in, I probably would have had long side futures position. Because if from 15 rupee for it to pick up to 70 rupees, like Bank Nifty should be extremely bullish. That too within a span of like 1.5 hours. So I just kept my stop loss at 70 itself. However, like in this particular case, the 70 rupees stop loss was kept not with some any pre-planned ideas or something. It was just kept for that, safety part. So I would not have left this stop loss to get hit. So if at all market is to pick up, I really wouldn't have let the stop loss getting hit. Okay, this is a brilliant question you had asked. So I had kept it at 70 itself. However, you could have actually kept it at 40. You could have kept it at 50. I kept it at 70 itself, but I was actually there in front of the screens. So if at all market was to pick up from 15 to like 60 something, obviously Bank Nifty would have actually rose like crazy. So I probably would have had long side futures positions by then. So when it took out the 36,500 marks. Okay. It's an excellent question that you have asked. Rahul, hello. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Brilliant question. Okay. So in this particular case, the stop loss that was kept just for that feeding of safety. So I wouldn't have left that stop loss to get hit. So you could have kept it at 40. Yeah. Thank you, Rahul. So any other queries, Rahul?
No, sir. Nothing else, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else? So we personally did a 0.4 percentage, okay, for ourselves for the day. Once again, like pretty conservative, but it's kind of pretty decent as far as what we do is concerned. Anyone else? Any other questions? Yeah, if no other queries are there, then we could kind of just wind up for the day. So thank you all. So it was like more or less a pleasant expiry, like really not much of a hiccup. Markets were like pretty much more or less straightforward itself. So let's see how the coming expiries go. So like last expiry was a bit difficult for me, but last expiry and this expiry has been more or less pretty straightforward. So if no other questions, then we can wind up. So thank you for spending your time. So I just wanted to ask you some questions. See, I just wanted a feedback. Okay, so is there some topics or is there some setups that you're finding difficulty to follow? So what are the things that you find difficulty in following? Just let me know. I'll do more live trades on those specific topics. So this week also we'll kind of actually just look into one Bank Nifty directional setup. And on top of that, like I'll also discuss with you calendars. Okay. So calendars also I'll kind of actually discuss with you. Calendar spreads. That is a different, like we learned bear call spreads this week. So I'll show you calendar spreads. I'll kind of actually show you some directional things also that I'm going to follow. And if you have any questions, we'll see that in live markets also. But if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, inputs, just feel free to tell me. Anyone, any questions? If you have any inputs, so is there any topic that you're finding difficulty to follow? Tell me that, we'll focus on that. Please mention it everyone in Discord so I'll get notifications immediately. Yeah, I'll do that, sure. I'll just do that for sure. Anything else, anyone?
No, sure, but the bear call spreads is little confusing. I'll anyways go through that video once.
So in case like bear call spreads are kind of actually just pretty easy. In the sense like pretty easy. Like once you get a hang of it, that's it.
Yeah. I'll go through that video. I haven't checked the video. I'll get back to you.
And like by tomorrow, like you'll have the new content library also set on our course dashboard. Okay.
Okay.
Can you click on live trading with on the various option strategy? Okay, so like yeah, so various option strategy, like this is a very controversial topic. Okay, various option strategies. Okay, so to be pretty frank, you really don't need a lot of things in the markets. Okay, so as far as option strategies alone is concerned, so more or less like I kind of actually have come across around 50-60 setups. Okay, option strategies alone. But if you ask me like how many do I follow, it's just like 4. Okay, so it's not because of the fact that okay there are no other option strategies, but the problem is how many do you actually use?
Yeah.
Okay, understand. And you so see now there are like some setups where you can actually look out for aggressive entries, aggressive exits. So more the profits, bigger the losses also. And consistency, like your probability of success would also kind of actually be a bit less. So this directional setups that we discussed, right? The pivot setup and all. So those are setups like that. So I just wanted to tell you guys, please don't think about trying out a lot of strategies or learning a lot of stuff. Why? Because it is ultimately at the end of the day, it is all about results, right? So even if you're finding like very comfortable with, just stick with that. But obviously, so as the market demands, so the present market bear call spreads is what I'm personally doing. So now, like last week, I personally had around 140 lots sold bear call. So right now, I personally have around 190 lots sold. Okay, bear call spreads itself, same strategy. The same thing that we discussed on Bank Nifty, I have actually around 190 lots sold on Nifty. So same way, like you can actually kind of think about getting comfortable in some specific thing. Just work on that. So bear call spreads alone, like you want to generate like a 2% per month. Now this 40 rupees triangle, only on expiry days if you trade, still that would be good enough. Okay. So one by one, yeah, obviously I'll show you more. I'll do more live trades and you'll get more of an exposure. You'll get the way thought processes done also. We'll do that definitely. Okay. So this Zerodha account, like I personally had dedicated it just for this. We'll definitely do it. Okay. No worries. So thank you all. I'll just wind up for the day. And maybe tomorrow we can actually check out for a directional trade on Bank Nifty itself. Tomorrow we'll do it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day.